Good morning, everyone. It is our final podcast of the week, although it's not the end of my streaming week. We got a big new release day tomorrow, which we will talk about. But on today's show, I'll get you all caught up on all the current playthroughs, including, sadly, a conclusion of a playthrough that happened last night due to lack of interest. Also today, we've got two big news stories. One regarding a canceled Assassin's Creed game that leaked on the internet, and now that it has, controversy all over the place. In addition to that, a really sad story today. A South Korean popular streamer was murdered by her biggest fan and contributor. What happened? We're going to talk about this because it's pretty darn disturbing. All this and more on today's episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Lights on. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today is Thursday, the 9th of October, 2025. I'm DSP. This is the Level 1 Podcast. Like I said, this is the final podcast of the week. Reason being, tomorrow is the big premiere of Battlefield 6, and we're going to be playing Battlefield 6 all day long, including a first stream where I'll probably try the Conquest mode, and then maybe a late-night stream where we will try all of the other modes. Due to this, I want to focus solely on the new release, so no podcast tomorrow. The show will return on Sunday morning when I am back from break. But just because it's the final podcast of the week does not mean it's like, less of a doozy. It's a big one today. Big news going on right now in the realm of gaming and streaming. So we'll cover all of that. Plus, we've got updates on quite a few things. Notably, first off, today, it appears we have returned to actual autumn weather here in Washington State. Outside, it is currently only like in the 50s/60s, like it's high 50s, low 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It is cloudy and it is raining on and off. This is good. This is exactly the weather that I want for comfortable autumn streaming. Right now in my office, it is 79 degrees. If it stays at that level, we're good. I can't wait for the fall not to be sweating it out every day here trying to stream with you guys. However, you may have noticed, you're like, well, wait, you didn't go back to your old attire yet. Well, to be honest, I didn't want to jump the gun. Just like I jumped the gun taking my air conditioner out of the window, and then I had to suffer for a week and a half with excruciating heat. I didn't want to jump the gun, stack up on all these clothes, and then be hot in here again. So today will be hopefully the final day that I'll have to wear like a t-shirt like I used to, but it's pertinent. We're playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 today, and I said I'll wear my other Mario shirt for today. It's really cool. These shirts stand out now. Remember, I used to wear these for years and years endlessly, but I had the worst quality Peach Fuzz camera, right? It looked awful. Now you can actually see all the nice artwork that I had on my clothing all these years. Pretty cool, right? So anyway, fingers crossed, it stays cool, and I'll have a nice fall of streaming with all of you without suffering, okay? So, anyway, what I'd like to do first up is say hello to everyone. How is everyone today? Let's say, who we got on stream today? Over on YouTube, we've got Squirtle, what's up? Wrigley, Tykeal, Big Boss, what's up? Mission Vow, how are ya? Chris, good morning. Original Grant, how are ya? Danzak with our first contribution of the day, $2, and he says, speaking of guns. Guns? Wait a minute, who's speaking of guns? Who was speaking of guns? What are you talking about? Unless you're talking about Battlefield, I guess. Thanks for $2, Danzak. I appreciate that. So anyway, I don't know what you mean. I have no idea what you're speaking of. Guns? There's no guns in here. I would never, ever show any guns on my stream. I'd be violating several terms of service agreements. You understand? Okay. Game Boy, good morning. How are you? It's good to see you here today. Colin, what's up? Gabe, what's up? Who else do we have? Troy, good morning. How are you? Good morning, good morning. I hope you're all ready for a fun podcast. And of course, Mario continuing. I'm excited for my second session of Mario Galaxy 2 today. Hopefully getting further into the game and enjoying it more. You know, the initial stream was good, but I feel like I barely scratched the surface of what the game is going to be. But, you know, it is what it is. It was pretty good. Who do we got over on Kick today? We got supportive support. We got username is already taken. Eddie Chill. Dormant muscle mass over there on Kick. How you doing? You get it? What's going on? Ronoff, what's up? Pelted with pennies, ouchie. I actually love that name, even though it's a troll. I love that name. In fact, their troll comment's not even right. It says, why do you lie about the weather? It's 59 degrees, not high 60s. I said high 50s, low 60s, but you're a deaf idiot. Thanks. I love it. Shooting Stars Rock. Omega Sauce, what's up? Mango Ice Cream Kitty, good morning. Feesbot, how are you? Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to the show. I hope you're all ready to chill and enjoy some news stories. Well, I say enjoy, but I don't know how much we can enjoy some of these news stories this morning. It's like, yikes. This happened again? I don't know what's going on with the Kick contributions that it keeps getting lowered. But thank you to Supportive Support for 100 kicks this morning. Our first kicks contribution. I appreciate that. Let's get that on the leaderboard, actually. Thank you, Supportive Support, for starting the support. Very good stuff. All right. So, first of all, let's get caught up in regards to what we're doing with certain game playthroughs, tonight's special stream that we're doing on the late stream that I hope you guys will join me for, and what's coming up. All right. After that, we're going to talk about these two news stories. One is covering a canceled Assassin's Creed game that has leaked, and the entire internet is going crazy talking about it one way or another. And then on the other side of the world, we've got a news story about a South Korean TikToker with over 300,000 followers who was murdered by her biggest contributor / whale, I guess you would call him, who had given her, listen to this, over $70,000. She, for the record, was in her mid-20s. He was in his 50s. This is insane. The story gets crazier and crazier. Apparently, he murdered her 30 minutes after her final live stream. Like, she got right off the stream, he found her and killed her. So we got some dark stuff to talk about today. Sheesh. So anyway, yeah, we'll get to that, okay? So, I know. How do you get out of that? Well, let's get back on track. Let's talk about the schedule, shall we? All right, so let's talk about what's been going on with each individual playthrough that I'm doing, okay? So let's take a look at my schedule here. First of all, out of all the games that I'm currently playing, I would say the one that we're furthest along in is Hollow Knight Silksong at this point. Silksong is going very well, FYI. It's a very, very difficult game, and when I first started playing it, there were two questions that needed to be asked. Question number one, would people tune in for a Metroidvania game? Because I've tried them before, and they don't usually work. The exception to that rule was Metroid Dread many years ago, but outside of Metroid Dread, all the other times that I have attempted to actually play a Metroidvania game, they flopped. I couldn't get people to come and engage in support with these playthroughs, okay? The other question was, being that I hadn't ever played Hollow Knight, I had played it for like 40 minutes to an hour, a marathon, many years ago, but that was it. So I didn't have the prerequisite knowledge, the experience going into Silksong. Would I be able to actually play and advance and beat Silksong, or was I going to get to a point where it's just too difficult for me and I was going to throw in the towel, frustrated? Honestly, I didn't know the answer to either of these questions, but we are about 40 some hours into the playthrough. I think we're like 35 parts in, something like that. And I'm very happy to announce the playthrough's doing great. Okay, overall, the views on the on-demand videos do okay. It's not great views or whatever. At the same time, you can't really say that because remember, YouTube stopped counting ad blocker views. So there very well could be way more people watching the playthrough, but they all use ad blocker, and I can't tell what attention I'm getting. Everyone's views are down right now on YouTube, so there's no way to actually tell, hey, is this performing well on demand? What I can tell you is that the streams are doing good. Every time I stream Silksong, we get a decent crowd who are engaged with the game. They are there to see me play, to advance, to help me find hidden stuff that I'm missing, to let me understand builds and stuff that I wouldn't know because the game doesn't really explain anything like Dark Souls. And it has been really, really good so far. I've had a great time with it. I'm fighting all of the optional content, the extra bosses, all this stuff. I'm not just turboing through the story like a lot of streamers actually did, because it's funny. You know, some of my moderators will sometimes try to help me to understand how long a game is. One moderator's like, yeah, this major streamer beat the game in like 30 hours. And I got to the 30-hour mark. I'm like, I'm not even close to the end. And then they looked at like, oh, yeah, that streamer basically just did the streamlined story, finished Act 2, and quit and never played it ever again. So they never did anything difficult. They literally only did just the easy stuff and then they quit. So, you know me, when I like a game, I like to go deep into it and I like to do all the content. And that's what I'm doing with Silksong. And I'm finding it very rewarding. Even though the game is very challenging and sometimes it's grueling, and I got a callus on my thumb to prove it. Right there in the middle of my thumb is a callus that grew. See, it's bumping out of my thumb there. That's from jumping so much with the platforming of Silksong, okay? But I love the game. It's absolutely going to be one of my Game of the Year contenders this year. I can't see anything knocking it out of top 10 contention. It's such a great game. It's probably the best Metroidvania game I have ever played. And the more I play it, the more challenging stuff happens, the more new locations, the more new enemies, the more gameplay elements get introduced, the more I like it. I'm really enjoying the game, so I can't wait. I literally can't wait for more. Every time I play, I'm like, oh, it's time for more Silksong. I'm excited to see what we're going to do that next session, you see? And to be very frank, yes, basically, the game is doing very well support-wise as well. Every single time that we stream Silksong, we hit a goal. Every time. So obviously, it's working with the viewers. It's working with me. It's jiving. It's a great playthrough. Now, where are we with the game? So we have, I believe, one or two major things left to do in Act 2 before we do the final area and beat Act 2. I don't know how long they are because people are saying there's like one or two optional areas I didn't do yet that I can do. And then after that, you finish Act 2. And then you head into Act 3, and Act 3 is what most people, I guess, skipped, but Act 3 is the super difficult end game areas with ultra challenge and stuff like that, which I'm going to do. So from all reports, if you do all the content, the game's around 60 hours long. I'm around 40 hours in right now, give or take. So probably it's going to keep going for a few weeks here. Like I might even be playing into, early November, depending. But I'm happy for that. The game is great. I can't wait to play it more. Thanks to everyone who's watching and supporting that playthrough. Again, I'm not concerned with on-demand views because on-demand views mean nothing when YouTube isn't counting half the views because people are using ad block, right? Okay. So, what else are we doing? Well, I played several sessions of the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 beta. So you want my final thoughts on that? Sure, I'll give them to you right now. The Black Ops 7 beta was okay. It was good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was fine. It was passable. There's things about the game I still don't like. Like, the game outright lies about the ping. It'll claim you have a better ping, yet that match seems very laggy. Then you go to a match that claims to have worse ping, but everything's working and everyone dies to your shots when the match before it was like you could never hit anyone. That makes no sense at all logically, but Treyarch wants you to think that they're telling the truth when they're not. Some of the stuff is very broken. I found a sniper rifle that seems to be the most broken sniper rifle I've ever seen in a Call of Duty. And there's just some ludicrous stuff, but at the same time, the game is fun to play. Like, I went melee mode and I'm running around, slaughtering people, wall jumping and doing silly tactics, going cloaked like the Predator and taking people out. Like, this is still fun. So there's going to be things I know I'm going to not like about it. At the same time, listen, it's on Game Pass. I'm going to play it. Really, how much I'm going to play it is going to be dependent on how much you guys like it. You know me, I'll try everything. I'll try all different builds. I'll try to unlock all the weapons, I'll go for it. So let's see how it goes when it comes out. But I had fun playing it. I legit did. I had fun enjoying Call of Duty, and I hope that you guys will come back, for that when it comes out in November. And I'm hearing all kinds of conflicting things. Like, the game, the beta had standard matchmaking, and then it had open matchmaking, which basically meant there's no skill-based matchmaking. I tried both. Didn't really see much of a difference yet, but again, I didn't play enough of the beta to really have a determination there. Like, what I might want to do when the real game comes out, do one entire stream where I do standard multiplayer. Then the next entire stream is non-skill based matchmaking and compare the two and see what happens and see what I like more, right? Then again, they might tweak the game by the time it comes out. It might be different. You never know, right? So there you go. Okay. So I'm excited for more of that. The beta ended, for the record, it ended this morning. But I'm excited for that when it comes out next month to give it a shot, and hopefully you guys will like it. Okay. Um, Super Mario Galaxy 2, well, we've only played it once. We're going to play it more today, and I'll have a lot more to say after I play it today. The first section that I did, or the first segment that I did, I should say, was good. The one thing I'm confused about is that they literally got rid of Rosalina from the entire plot, and there's no hub world. Instead, it's like a map screen, incredibly similar to previous Mario games, like moving around an overworld map and just going from world to world. That's really weird. I don't know why they would have went to a unique 3D hub world with a story, and then they kind of backpedaled on it, and now it's more basic. Like, the story seems to be very, very minimal in Galaxy 2. The platforming elements are good. So as long as the game stays fun, I don't see what the big deal is, but we'll see today as I play more what I really think. But I'm excited for more today, and I hope that you guys will stick around after this podcast for more Mario Galaxy 2, okay? Now, that's everything that's currently in my rotation. You might say, wait, what? Well, what happened to all the other games? Well, they're all done. I finished Silent Hill F. That's out of the rotation. I finished Chronos. That's out of the rotation. What about Sonic Racing Crossworlds? Let's talk about it, okay? So Sonic Racing Crossworlds was hyped as the replacement for Mario Kart World because everyone was saying, man, Mario Kart World is such a disappointment. Nintendo did not listen to the fans. The whole open world did not work. The whole stages and tracks connecting, interconnecting, and having to drive between them doesn't work. The game's a failure. So people wanted something different when it came to racing. And then Sonic Racing Crossworlds had all this hype behind it and everything, and everyone's all excited. Oh, this is great. I'm all excited for it, right? So I got it, and I played it, and I liked it. I think the graphics are quite good. They're better than Mario Kart World, to be honest with you. They are. I think there's a lot of nostalgia there. You got certain stages that toss in or tie into previous Sonic games, which is really nice. Some retro soundtracks. At the same time, you got things that are more modernized, new soundtracks as well. I do like that the characters are a big combination of the history of Sonic. You know, you got characters from all the way back in the day, classic Sonic, all the way through the Sonic Frontiers. That's awesome. And I also like that you can customize your loadouts with each character. So you got your base character, but then you can buy a car. You can customize the parts of the car that change the stats. You can change the appearance of the car. I really like that, okay? But it just hasn't caught on with the viewers, and I don't know why. Now, I'm just going to say something right up front, some of the asinine things that I see my trolls say on the internet. Well, if a playthrough doesn't work, it's your fault. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight, okay? You're telling me that it's my job to take a game that's not resonating with my audience and somehow make it work. Am I a fucking coder? Am I a programmer? Can I go in there and edit the code and change the game to make it more appealing to my audience? No. Also, am I psychic? Can I go out there and mind read my audience to see exactly what it is they want out of a particular style or genre of game? No. All I can do is play the game, react honestly to it, and hope that it translates into something that's entertaining for said audience. You know what I've been doing for 17 plus years, and I'm successful at it, and I make a living doing it. So I love that immediately when a game's not working, it's the streamer's fault. Wrong. You're a fucking idiot if you ever say that. You're a fucking dunce. Sorry, you're just stupid. If I can do streams where games are working every time and people are engaging, supporting, and enjoying themselves, and then I play a different game and it doesn't work, what does that have to do with me? I'm still the same gamer. I'm the same guy. I'm giving the same commentary, the same criticism, the same opinion, the same gameplay. It's not me. It's the game, stupid. Not every game is going to translate into a successful playthrough. It's that simple. In 2025, you got to get used to this now. All right? This is not 2015. This is not 2008, where every single thing I do is popular because people love me so much on the internet that they're going to watch it no matter what. I don't have that level of popularity. What I have is a level of respect from a small group of longtime fans and or newcomers who still like me and want to see my honest opinions on games. And it's enough to support a business. And that's awesome. But also that means that when I find things that don't resonate with an audience, we've got to move on. And that seems to be exactly what is going on with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. The first stream I did all offline play because I wanted to get the hang of the game and the controls and unlock content. The second stream, I listened to your feedback directly, so only the first half of the stream was offline. Then I went online and I played online for the rest of the stream. The third stream I did was exclusively online competitive play, which is what everyone was asking for. And then last night, which was my final attempt to play the game, I played for 35 minutes. Here's what happened in the 35 minutes I played. One person contributed $10 and picked a racer. That's it. Everyone who was there, no one was commenting at all on the game. No one was even commenting on what was going on in the content of the stream. Everyone was disengaged, going off on their own tangent conversations or just not talking at all. There was only one person who even contributed for the stream. So it's an interactive stream. You guys picked the racers. Nobody cared. People were bored to tears. Okay? So it's just that simple. I'm sorry. I can't make a game entertaining for you. A lot of people now have been leaving comments saying, yeah, this is the kind of game where it's basically good to play, but it's not really that entertaining to watch after the first, session or two. It's more about just getting good at the game, and it's not exactly the most entertaining journey. To be honest, I just don't think that these style of games really works that well anymore for an audience. I mean, Mario Kart never did for me. I played Mario Kart previously on the Wii U. That one didn't work either. That was a decade ago, but no one cared about that either. I played it like 2-3 streams. I dropped it because no one liked it. So it's the same situation here where I'm trying to play these racing games and they just don't catch on. I tried it as a day stream. I tried it as a night stream. I tried it as single player. I tried it as multiplayer. I tried to make it interactive so you could pick what we're doing. None of it worked. So I gave it a shot. At this point, I don't think there's much else I can really do. Why keep playing a game that no one wants? Seriously, just move on. There's more than enough stuff going on right now in this very busy gaming season that we can just say, okay, skip this one. There's other stuff coming up. Let's play that instead. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay? Okay, so there you have it. And now you might say, well, Phil, what does this mean for Kirby and the Star Racing game that's coming out in like November? Well, there's two things with that. Number one, I've already played 2 racing games this year and neither of them worked. So what makes you think a third racing game would work? Why would I get the Kirby game? But then there's another factor involved, which you may not be aware of. 2 days ago, my Switch 2 decided to stop working with the Ethernet connection for internet. It only works wirelessly, and I don't know how to get it to fix itself, if it even can be fixed. So guess what? I can't play it online anyway. Even if I bought Kirby, I'd only be able to play it single-player offline racing. Who wants to just see that? You obviously want to see me play other people, right? I can't. My Switch 2's messed up. So until we figure out a solution for that, I can't play games competitively online on the Switch 2. So this eliminates Kirby from the running, essentially. Sucks. Don't worry, I am still playing stuff on my Switch 2. I'm playing Mario Galaxy 2 right now. I'm going to be playing Pokemon ZA next week. So there are new games coming for the Switch 2. It's just, you tell me why Nintendo's hardware repeatedly fails for me. Nintendo used to be actually one of the most dependable companies. Now they're just crap. The Joy-Cons drift, the consoles brick, features break. What a piece of junk. Wow, really reliable Nintendo there, huh? But again, don't say this around the fanboys. The fanboys will come and tell you why you're wrong, why you're responsible for your console bricking itself or breaking. You're the one who made those Joy-Cons drift. How dare you? Buy more amiibos, by the way. Anyway, so Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, I gave it a shot. It didn't work. We're done with the game. Sorry for those who liked it. I did too. But I got to do things on stream that you guys want and will engage and support with. Now I'm playing it for myself. Okay? There you go. So that leaves one other thing. Battlefield 6, which is premiering tomorrow. All right? So let's take a look at the schedule so you guys know what to expect in the next week. Here we go. So today it is Super Mario Galaxy 2 continuing on the first stream right after this podcast. And tonight we're doing something very special. Tonight, on the late stream, a little kind of seasonal adventure here. we're going to be doing a late night chill stream of Lego building. I have not done this since, what was it, April? So here we are. Lego Game Boy tonight. I'm excited for this. This thing looks really cool, and it's probably going to be a quick build. It's 421 pieces. I'm pretty sure we could finish that tonight, as long as I focus on it and really try. And that'll be cool and interactive. We're going to hang out, talk a lot while I'm building this thing, so I hope that you guys will join me. And after that's built, this will become a part of my set. Likely next week, I'll probably put it into the rotation. I was saying that was a price tag. No, it's not. I don't even know what that is. But, yeah, it'll be back tonight. Lego stream returning. Come back tonight and hang out with me around 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, around 2.5 hour stream to build the Game Boy. That'll be pretty cool. I hope you'll be here tonight for that, okay? Okay, cool. Now, for the rest of the week, tomorrow we are playing Battlefield all day long, so I'm not doing a podcast. All right, first stream, likely we're going to jump right into Conquest and see what that's like. And then for the second stream, we're probably going to do the other modes. I'm thinking that we should do the one that's kind of like Call of Duty and then explore the other modes as well, because I know there's quite a few different modes in this game. I'm off from streaming on Saturday. I will return on Sunday with a return podcast. We'll do a major stream of Hollow Knight Silksong where we'll see if we can finish up Act 2. And then we're going to do more Battlefield multiplayer on the late night stream on Sunday. On Monday, where there will not be a podcast, instead we'll just do a major stream of Super Mario Galaxy 2 to try to make maximum progress. And then Monday night, we'll have our weekly American Truck Sim chill stream where I have some brews and we have a good time hanging out. No Battlefield that day. We'll give it a rest, but then we'll jump right back into doing Battlefield Daily on Tuesday. Okay, now also keep in mind, next week, there is a major new release. It is Pokemon ZA is coming out on Thursday. So 1 week from today is the premiere of Pokemon ZA. I hope that you'll come back and hang out with me for that. That should be really fun. Hopefully this game is better and performs better than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on Switch 1. This one, again, it's a Switch 2 exclusive. You would think they would have optimized it, this Pokemon company, but I mean, the last one ran so horribly. I really hope that's not the case. I do hope that it ends up being a very fun, chill experience that we can play over the course of the next month or two, okay? Always love the Pokemon playthroughs. They're great interactive times. We have a great time with them. Keep in mind that when we play Pokemon ZA, what we do is I allow people to name my Pokemon. If they contribute a certain amount, you can name a Pokemon that's, you know, in my Pokedex, and then when they come out and we use them in battles, you see their name and everything, we could do that. All right, we've done that before. We could do it again. So that's coming up next week. Good stuff. Okay. So that's what's going on roughly for the next week. It's good variety. Hope you guys will be around for that, okay? A couple shout outs here. Big Boss first did a $2 super chat and said, is a baptism in Pepsi and chili worth $5,000 or more? No, that's fucking disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what you've just described. I don't even want to know, because obviously those sound like Wings memes. So I don't even want to know what you're talking about. I'm sure it does have some probably disgusting hold in reality of something that happened, and I don't want to know. The ignorance is bliss, as they say. So thanks for $2. And then I got another $2 from Big Boss. He says, yes, Lego streams are back. Exactly. You know, I enjoyed the Lego streams that we did earlier this year. But the thing is, I think I did them too often. You know, first we did the succulent plant build, and that took a while because it had all these sections to do. Then we did the Minecraft build that I did during an actual marathon. And then we did the piranha plant. And after doing 3 Legos kind of back to back for like two months, people got burnt out and didn't really care anymore. Well, now we haven't done one at a long time, so hopefully you guys will come tonight and chill with me as we build the Game Boy. I think the Game Boy Lego is pretty unique and interesting, okay? All right. So there we go. Now, where are we? How are we doing with everything? Yesterday, we hit a goal, and we ended up doing DSP Tries It Mexican food. It was a pretty good episode, although admittedly, when you're doing local restaurants versus fast food, it doesn't have the widespread appeal. Why? Well, because you can't just go to your local restaurant and eat what I just got, because all the restaurants are different that are local, right? So I get that, but for a couple of, you know, episodes of DSP Tries It, you know, doing Indian food and then Mexican food, it worked well. It really did. But now we're going to go back to fast food because you guys have spoken. You want me to return to Arby's to try their brand new steak nuggets. I don't know if they're going to be any good. Probably not, but I'll give it a shot because you want it. I'll give you what you want. All right. So I hope that you will join me for that when we hit 10 more goals. Now, last night, obviously, we didn't hit a goal for Sonic. Like I said, we raised $10 playing Sonic. Then I called an audible, and for about an hour, we did Q&A, chill with Phil, and I made about $100, which was great. But we didn't hit the goal. So we're back to 0. 10 goals to go for steak nuggets at, indigestion. Steak nuggets at Arby's. And I'm excited for that to see if it's any good. I hope it's good. Okay. So let's get some support going. First of all, if you like the podcast, you'll like the fact that I cover news stories and we have this fun discussion every other morning. Please support right now during the show. Let's get some great support so that we can definitely crush this goal. But in addition, if you like Mario, support the stream today. Let's get Mario Galaxy 2 firmly secured as a day stream that will be moving forward on this channel that you guys are going to want. All right. I like the game so far. I'm looking forward to more. So let's get some support going for Mario today as well. All right. So the sooner the better. Let's get going. We got a couple contributions that just came in. So let's get started. So we have Vasil, who did a 13 super chat. Let's get that up on the leaderboard. Vasil says, I would easily cover you $5,000 for a boxing match, even though I know you don't care. Wings is way too egotistical. He would want $100,000, and I'm not going to give that newbie that much. Wings is never going to box me. That would never happen. He already boxed one person, Boogie, and I say boxed in a very, very, very loose way, quotation marks, because we all know it wasn't a real boxing match, okay? He would never do it again. All he did ever since then was complain about how awful it was. It was the worst decision of his life. He never should have done it. Blah, blah, blah. He's been offered money to box again, time and again, and it was decent money, and he won't do it. He's not going to box me. Nor am I going to box him. I have no reason to step into a ring with this man and demolish him and, embarrass him, probably hurt him seriously, which I would not want to do, and I would probably have to. I'm not going to do this. Okay, I'm not. There's no point. I have nothing to prove. I don't need to beat up Wings of Redemption. Okay? Excuse me. All right. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. Big Boss did a $5 super chat, and he says, for a future Lego stream, could we have stream goals to handicap the Lego build? Example, donate $100 and you have to use mittens when you're building it. No. No. Okay, thanks for $5, Big Boss. All right. Someone's hit the buck. It says Claire Obscure just hit 5 million total game sales. Wow, that is amazing. Congratulations to the makers of Claire Obscure. The game deserves it. That is absolutely amazing. What an accomplishment for a modern RPG to be selling 5 million copies like that. And it's not from a major AAA studio that gave it a big marketing push. It's just a normal game. That word of mouth, it succeeded, which is absolutely amazing. Do you think the game deserves it? Would you recommend it? Yes and yes. And you guys know why. I played it earlier this year. One of my big regrets is that, sadly, with my audience, RPGs just don't work that well. So because of it, I could only play the base game. I never got to do the Act 3 fun stuff that a lot of people say is the best gameplay of the game with super bosses, optional content. So I can't do it because no one will show up for it. No one barely showed up for the main playthrough. It sucks, but what can I do, right? Let's start talking about these news stories that we have to talk about today, folks. You ready? 2 news stories. One's pretty crazy and the other's insane. Want to start with the crazy news story? Let's start with the crazy news, then we'll get to the insane news. Okay? The crazy news story for this morning is as follows. Scoop. Ubisoft canceled a post-Civil War Assassin's Creed last year. Company leadership deemed the project too controversial for the moment, sources tell GameFile. From Stephen Totillo, writer for GameFile. This was yesterday's story, so I'm covering it today because I didn't do a podcast yesterday. In July of last year, word began to trickle through Ubisoft that an ambitious new installment of the company's top franchise, Assassin's Creed, had been canceled. The new game would have brought the history-spanning series to one of its most modern settings, the American Civil War, and more so, the Reconstruction period that followed in the 1860s and 1870s. In this Reconstruction era Assassin's Creed, gamers would play as a black man who had been formerly enslaved in the South and moved west to start a new life. Recruited by the series Assassins, he would return to the South to fight for justice in a conflict that would, among other things, see him confront the emergence of the Ku Klux Klan. That's according to interviews with 5 current and former Ubisoft employees who spoke to GameFile on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak about this project. Ubisoft did not respond to a request for comment to the story, which means it's true. If not, they would have denied it. The people were enthusiastic about the game, but were also frustrated by its cancellation, which they perceived as Ubisoft bowing to controversy. 3 sources told GameFile that word filtered through the company last July that management in Paris had stopped development of the game for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, online backlash that sprung. It should have said sprung, not spring. This is actually a typo in the article. Online backlash that sprung to the reveal of Yasuke, a historically inspired black samurai, as a protagonist in the company's then upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, that statement's false. It's not historically inspired. That's why people didn't like the character, but let's continue. And 2, concern that the political climate in the United States was becoming increasingly tense. Too political in a country too unstable to make it short, one source familiar with the game and its cancellation told GameFile. Game cancellations are not unusual, sources said, but reasons such as those were. This would be Assassin's Creed game was early. So, what does that mean? In summary, Ubisoft was going to make Assassin's Creed Civil War, where right after the Civil War, a slave that was starting to now become, emancipated and starting their own life was going to fight the Ku Klux Klan as an assassin. Okay? They canceled the game. So, what should everyone think about this? Well, there's 2 sides of thought to this situation. One side is, wow, this sounds like an actual genuinely good game, a good idea for an Assassin's Creed game. Maybe it would have been one of the most unique or interesting ever. And it would have been the most modern one. If you take a look at all the Assassin's Creeds, they're all taking place at a time period before this. This would have been the most modern one. So you would have had more modern technology, modern setting, right? I mean, we already had an Assassin's Creed set in the United States. We did. But it was previous to this time period. So it's a great idea. Sucks that it got canceled. On the other side of the argument, you got people saying, seems to be a pattern here with what they're trying to do with Assassin's Creed. First, you have an Assassin's Creed game that's set in Japan, and everyone's always wanted a Japanese Assassin's Creed, so you make the main character a black man. And like I said, the article right there, completely false. They were saying that Yasuke was historically inspired. No, he wasn't. That's the problem with Assassin's Creed Shadows. He wasn't historically inspired because there was actually a black man in feudal Japan who did actually serve as a vassal or whatever you want to call it, a servant of an actual shogun, but he wasn't a samurai. He was a glorified walking piece. The guy would march him around as a trophy saying, look who works for me, this black guy. I'm the only powerful Japanese man in my country who has a black man. And he basically marched him around like a thing he owned, right? He was not a samurai. So what Ubisoft did is they took the historical story and they changed it completely to serve their own purposes. And that's why people didn't like the story of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Not because, it was historically inspired and people just don't like a black guy. That's not it. It's because they changed the story to serve their own purposes, okay? That's why there's an issue with the game. You got to understand that. But you notice, once again, the person writing the article doesn't say that because they don't want the truth to be known. They want to spin it for their own political reasons, right? Now, here's my train of thought, okay? I actually like the idea. I genuinely thinking about this idea that the main character used to be a slave, was emancipated, is now starting their own life, but now they get torn into this big war of, people who don't accept them as being free and being treated like dirt and having a whole segregated society that's separate. And now the Ku Klux Klan comes out, so anti, black people and trying to do horrible things to black people, maybe to his family. And so he joins the assassins and he uses them to help himself, stop it. This sounds like a good idea. I'm sorry. Like, that actually sounds like a riveting story. And I would probably enjoy playing that game. That sounds good. But there's a major problem, okay, of why that game wouldn't work. Because you made Assassin's Creed Shadows first. You see, Ubisoft has absolutely no fucking idea how to do timing of anything. If they had done the better idea first, it probably would have worked. I find absolutely nothing wrong at all with that plot line. I think it sounds entertaining. But if you have that game come out immediately following a game where you took something that's actually historically happened and you change it to be your own self-serving political storyline, you change this character who was a vassal or whatever it was called, someone under someone, like almost like, a servant, and you turn them into a glorified samurai. It didn't happen. And they're black. Now you're going to have the next game also be a character who's black. The first thing you're going to hear is, what, are they just obsessed with black people now? Is this going to always be that every main character is going to be black in Assassin's Creed? There's 2 in a row now? You see what I'm saying? That I guarantee you people would have had an issue with that. They would have been like, why are you doing it again? It's the second time in a row now. Are you obsessed or something? In addition, again, it's politics, okay? Now, the truth is, the Civil War was a very, very heated political time in the United States. So this game would be rooted in politics, which is actually fine if that's what you're going for. But the problem is they made Assassin's Creed Shadows political by interjecting their liberal ideas into it, changing the face of what the game actually would have been successful doing and what everyone wanted, which was just an authentic Japanese Assassin's Creed. And now if you do another political game directly after a political game, guess what's going to happen? People are going to be upset, okay? So in reality, I actually think Ubisoft made the right decision. I think that if they tried to do this Assassin's Creed next, it would have blown up in their faces. You would have had so much controversy on the internet. Oh, again, another one? And you got another black lead. It's another politically charged game. Boy, you really got to shove your leftist politics down our throat, don't you, Ubisoft? So it's a good thing they canceled it. And here's the other funny part too, right? Just the backlash against the Yasuke character made Ubisoft feel like they needed to cancel this game. Are you aware that Ubisoft has been saying that Assassin's Creed Shadows was a success? A success. A game that when it came out, literally all you saw was negative press about this game. A game that is laughably unoptimized and ran like shit. And a game that we haven't heard from since. Are you aware that they just had a DLC? No one's talking about this game. It's dead. It's one of the deadest Assassin's Creeds ever. But they won't talk about sales. They say it was a big success, but then they won't actually report any numbers. So, yeah, I get the feeling, no, what they're saying was always bullshit. The game did not do well. It's their own fault. They're embarrassed by it. And they're probably very much in the right to not be coming out and putting out another politically charged game like this back to back. If anything, what they need to do right now, they need to backpedal. They need to take 2 steps backwards and make a game that's more in line with what the gamers want for Assassin's Creed rather than pumping out more political content. I think that would be the best idea. But what's funny is people on the internet that are ultra left are like, what a bunch of pussies, what a bunch of cowards, what a bunch of... Do you not understand the concept of gaming is supposed to be an escape from reality so that we can all enjoy a fantasy setting and have a good time? When you go to pick up a controller and play a game, if real life politics keep getting interjected down your throat constantly, you get tired of it. And this is the problem with all these games that are failing recently. Dragon Age Veilguard, Assassin's Creed Shadows are just two of the recent examples of games that tried to push left-wing politics down everyone's throat, and they failed. They flopped. We don't want it. We just want a game we can play and enjoy. Stop shoving politics down our throats. To be clear, if there were games trying to push right-wing politics down our throats, I'd also be calling that out because we also don't want that either. The thing is, it's just right now, most game development studios are left-leaning/liberal, and that's the politics we're getting shoved down our throats right now. But these games are all flopping. So now what's happening is a huge backpedaling and a huge changing of attitude within the games development industry. Oh crap, we jumped on the bandwagon. The bandwagon is failing, so now we need to do something different. And oh my God, are you crazy? A game about a slave, a liberated slave fighting the Ku Klux Klan? Way too political. Cancel, cancel, cancel. If they never went down this road and instead just focused on making great games instead of political games, they wouldn't be in this situation. But they had to take the easy way out. What's hot right now? What's the hot topic? Oh, leftist politics. So let's just make all our games about that. That was the stupidest thing they could have done, and they're all paying for it. They all shot themselves in the foot so bad. They took 5 years to pump out these games, and the trend's over. The political climate has shifted. No one wants to buy a game about this shit right now. You know, maybe give it another 5-10 years, and the pendulum will swing back, but you can't just do this kind of completely one-way leaning shit and expect that it's always going to be popular. What a story, huh? The question is, what are they actually going to do with Assassin's Creed? I don't know. I honestly have no concept of what they're going to do next with the series. It seems like they've burned every bridge, they've done every possible thing, and they've ruined every idea. So I'm not even sure what they could possibly do next that people would care about. I think that series has basically been run ragged, and I don't know where to go from here. Bring back Ezio. Oh my God. No, they would do that too. Well, we're out of ideas. Let's just do another one with Ezio in it. Sure, why not? Do another Ezio game. Everyone liked Ezio. I wouldn't put that past them. They would make one with Ezio in it. That's the creative, bankrupt mindset of modern game devs, is that they would actually make a game with Ezio as the protagonist again, a fourth one. I would believe that. Anyway, how would they do it? Oh, are you kidding me? They do a prequel. They do another story that happened in between the trilogy. They do a fucking what if scenario if he got revived with DNA later. They would do it. They would just fucking do something. I don't think they'll ever do it. I'm just saying, but I wouldn't put it past them, okay? Ezio's son. There you go. Ezio's grandson. They would do it. All right. We got a couple shout outs to do till we get to our next story. Thank you to Real Hugh Jasshole, who became a sub to the channel this morning. What's funny is I know Real Hugh Jasshole, I believe, used to be a sub. So I think maybe it expired and now they're re-upping it. That is a legit one, though. So thank you for that. Someone tipped $2 and then tried to say something politically charged, and I don't care, so I'm ignoring it. Thanks for $2. All right. Up to 33 of support and climbing. Thank you guys for the early support today. I appreciate it. Again, please, let's keep that momentum going. Let's hit a goal today to get momentum towards our next DSP Tries It, all right? I hope you're enjoying the show. Is everyone enjoying the show so far this morning? We got another crazy story to talk about today. I mean, holy shit, this one is just insane. This next news story is incredibly sad. It's incredibly insane. It's incredibly unfortunate. It's everything bad, okay? Everything bad with creation, everything bad with the internet, everything bad with this fanboyism mentality. Ready? I don't think I am, but we got to do it, all right? Look at this. South Korean TikTok star Yoon Jia killed by an obsessive fan after a live stream. Yoon Jia, a 25-year-old aspiring actress with over 300,000 TikTok followers, was found suffocated on a remote mountainside in Muju County, North Jeolla Province, just 30 minutes after ending her live stream on September 11, 2025. Authorities arrested a man in his 50s, a longtime viewer who donated nearly $70,000 to her streams after CCTV, that's closed caption TV, footage. Wait, CCTV is closed caption? No, it's not. It's closed circuit TV. I'm an idiot. It's closed circuit TV. Linked him to the scene. He confessed to the murder. Following a dispute over their failed business partnership. I like how I said completely the wrong thing. Also, that wording is weird. He confessed to the murder following a dispute over their failed business partnership. What does that mean? A failed business partnership? Someone gave her $70,000 because she was a content creator on TikTok, and AI, this is an AI generated article for the record. See, it makes you think that there was a business partnership. There was no business partnership. Okay? The incident has sparked national outrage and discussions on the risks of parasocial relationships in online streaming, with calls for enhanced anti-stalking laws and platform protections. Well, first off, there will never be platform protections. The reason being is there's laws right now that protect all social media: YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I could keep going. There's a law that says those businesses are not responsible whatsoever for things that take place, what people post, what people say, harassment. Now, there are things in place supposedly to help if someone does do something awful, like break the law or post up a video of a brutal murder or racism or horrible harassment. But there's literally no responsibility for these sites to ever do anything about content posted, harassment. They don't have to do anything. They're legally told you're not responsible for any of it. So you can have someone who systematically stalks, harasses, and kills someone as a result of them posting on social media, and the social media site cannot be held legally responsible in any way, shape, or form because of the way that laws are structured currently. Okay? That's all I want to say up front. All right? Now, first thing I want to do is read some of the responses to this story. Top response is from Asmon Gold, who says, a cautionary tale for any streamer: if someone randomly starts giving you a ton of money, stop and block them. I know it might sound insane, but think about the kinds of people who will give $50,000 to a girl on the internet. Insane people. Be safe and proactive. There's also some strong criticism of Korean media, because what Korean media did is they posted up the face of the content creator who passed away, but then they're showing a picture of the person they arrested, but they're blurring it out completely. So the criticism is, why are you showing the face of the person who passed away, but not the face of her killer? Isn't that kind of messed up? Why are you protecting the killer and not the person who died? Okay, so there is some criticism of that as well. All right? Horrific tragedy. This is why I advise women against having a public social media presence. Not to restrict them, but because of the psychopaths out there. Lonely and unstable people like this form unhealthy parasocial attachments, spending large amounts of money, and then linking to the article. Again, here's what they're talking about. Here is the actual streamer who passed away. Here's her murderer. They blurred his face out. So it is confirmed the person, this guy, killed her when she tried to cut off contact with him. Okay? Look at this. The devil doesn't come as a villain in red with horns. The devil comes disguised as everything you've ever hoped for. How about this take? Taking $70,000 from someone and not giving them anything in return is just asking for them to crash out. You should always ask what they want and make an honest decision about whether you're willing to sell that or don't take the money. Man, we've got some interesting takes, don't we? Right? We got some very interesting takes about this. This is exactly why creators beg for protection against cyberstalking. The warning signs are always there, but law enforcement ignores them until a tragedy happens. So here's someone actually responding to Asmon Gold and his statement. I don't think it's about the money. I'm sure there are people in your chat who you've given a lot to you over the time, yet they're not trying to dissect your body and pack it into a suitcase. How about this one from Metatron? Never meet anyone physically. If you're a streamer or YouTuber, particularly in these times, do not meet anyone. Not a fan, not a business partner, not a sponsor. No one who isn't a person you actually know and whose connection comes from your online presence. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that adds anything. It's all the same about protecting his face. Here's a good point. Almost as if strangers donating lots of money are right in the head. When will streamers realize it's not normal supporting me? You wish they have intentions behind it when it comes to dropping bags on you, right? Okay, we can keep going, but basically, it's an awful story, and there's all these different takes, and there's all these different things that we could talk about in regards to it, all right? So here's the deal. Back in the day, early YouTube, I became a prominent content creator, not a streamer. I wasn't a streamer at that point. I was just making on-demand videos. I became very popular for making said videos. People wanted to meet me. People wanted to interact with me. And I was like, we'll do Ask the King every once in a while. But the demand started to grow. People wanted to meet Darkside Phil. They wanted to get merch signed. They wanted to shake my hand. They wanted to take a picture with me. And so I decided, hey, all right, I'll start going out there. I'll start going to conventions. I'll hold a panel. I'll have a table where people can come up and meet me or whatever. And I did that for like a year or two. And it was nice. I'll be honest. I don't think I ever really met anyone who, in my opinion, seemed like a weird, stalkerish, obsessive weirdo, okay, who was going to do something horrible or anything like that. Now, who knows, right? Maybe I was just lucky with the few conventions and things that I attended. You never know. At the same time, all right, I was always with friends. Never did I go to an event by myself. I was always there with a group. I was always hanging out with the group. I was to be sure never to be alone. Okay? Also, let's be honest, back then, when I was at the height of my YouTube popularity, it wasn't about actual contributions. It wasn't like someone was contributing to my stream or contributing to it wasn't like that. It was based on video views. So it was a different time. There wasn't someone saying, hey, I'm going to donate a whole bunch of money to you today. And then you're wondering, gee, is this person right in the head or whatever? You know what I'm saying? It was a very different time back then. Okay. Over time, I think what's happened is that the situation has changed with content creation. We've gone from, hey, I just make this offline content for you to watch and enjoy at your own rate, and that's it. That's our relationship. To now I'm a live streamer. I hang out with you every day on stream, right? We have a good time together. And basically, because we do that, we now have this parasocial relationship where you come to hang out with me every day and we have conversation and we have fun. You contribute. I shout you out, right? And I think what happens is some people get it and some people don't, all right? When it comes to content creation, it's very simple. The person on the other end of the internet is never going to be your close personal friend. Maybe there are some situations where that does happen, but in general, 99.99999% of the time, that person you're looking at, including me, is never going to be your close personal friend. You're never going to be in a relationship with that person. That's crazy thinking. Sadly, I just think there's so many people on the internet who believe that. They look at that person on the other end of the camera and they say, oh, well, maybe if I'm nice enough to them and I contribute enough to them and I talk to them enough on a stream, I can have a close personal relationship. They could be my real friend. We can actually hang out and do stuff together. We can actually go on dates and we can have a relationship and this and that. And that's never going to happen. I don't even know how crazy it can get that people would believe that, but they do. I'm going to be honest with everyone. I've talked about this before, so don't worry about it. But listen to this story. Many, many, many years ago, I'm talking my first few years as a content creator, there was a person who became obsessed with me. I knew it because they told me outright. They were like romantically were thinking about me and they wanted to spend time with me and they wanted to do this. And I basically told them, listen, I'm not going to lead you on in life. This is never going to happen. Like, we're friendly. We talk. You know what I'm saying? But never, ever will that ever happen. And I tried to let them down as nicely as I could. But even then, I could tell that they were hurt. And quite frankly, after like maybe another month, I never spoke with that person ever again. And this is a person who had been a fan of mine, who had been a positive part of my community, you know? And then when I outright told them, listen, I can't, I'm not going to date you. That's crazy. You know, they couldn't take that answer and they disappeared. So for every situation like that, how many now situations do we have where you have a creator who's streaming and there's someone on the other end of that camera who has a crush on them and is now saying, well, I'm going to help them because I have a crush on this person. And they just start throwing them money to support them in this weird parasocial relationship, right? And they're expecting more than just that interaction. They're literally thinking in the back of their head, hey, maybe one day I can actually talk to this person and have a friendship. Maybe one day I can actually meet them. Maybe one day something more, spark will happen and we'll be romantic and this and that. And that's just crazy. It is. 100%, it's crazy thinking, but that's the world we're now living in. We have a whole generation of people growing up. They have always been on the internet. Literally, they've grown up connected to the internet nonstop all day, every day. Most of their life is lived on the internet. They don't even have a separation between what's real life and what's internet life. It's just, that's life to them. I grew up in a time period before the internet was everywhere. So I had a whole childhood and teen years before the internet became so prominent. So I have that life that's been separated, and I can separate. When people say to me, how do you every day go on with the amount of people on the internet who make fun of you and shit? How could you do it? Why the hell do I care about that? My life is not dictated by the internet. I have a real life off the internet that's amazing. My wife is next door right now. I can hear her doing stuff in the house, and I can't wait to spend time with her later today. That's my life. This is my work. And yes, we have fun on streams together, but that's my real life. But so many people today don't have that. All they have is this. So when they come on stream and they watch their favorite streamer, that's their life. That's their interaction and social existence for the day. And they don't have that level of separation to understand that this doesn't really matter that much. It's not that big of a deal. If you have a falling out with a streamer, oh no, I don't like their content anymore. It's not the end of the world. They don't get that because they've literally lived on the internet nonstop, 100%. So we have a whole generation of people that are growing up with this mindset that's been twisted and warped. And that's scary to think of, okay? Now, some of these comments, all right, are pretty crazy. You got someone like Asmongold, and he's saying, you got to be skeptical about people who support you online. If someone sends you a ton of money out of nowhere, you should block them and send the money back. So here's a question. I would love to ask this to Asmongold, all right? How exactly would you do that if you're a streamer? Could you refund a whole bunch of memberships or subs that you were sent right now? No. Can you refund bits or super chats? No. You can't. You can't refund online contributions. The only situation where you could is a tip. Like something through your PayPal, I guess Venmo. You could probably reject the payment and send it back. Outside of that, when you're a creator, you just get sent shit. Like there's nothing you can do about it. You just got it. All right? So there's no real protection from a streamer, as a streamer, I should say, from someone who's coming in and contributing. And maybe it's someone who even like, for example, right now on Kick, all right? There's people on Kick who are blocked. They could still contribute. I'm serious. Kick doesn't even have a protection where once someone's banned, they can't contribute. They can keep contributing anyway. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop them from being a contributor to your stream. That's just how they set up the business. So I find it kind of silly that you would put the blame on a victim. Someone who was murdered is somehow responsible for the fact that they had an obsessive fan who was sending them insane amounts of money, by the way, which they probably could not even reject. And now somehow that's their fault. I don't know if I agree with that take. All right. Here's what I would agree with. If you have someone who's a streamer and they are actually daily doing content that's suggestive, sexually suggestive, emotionally suggestive, that they're actually trying to milk their viewers by saying and doing things that are basically manipulative. These streamers who are barely wearing any clothes or taking clothes off, jumping in hot tubs, riding pickle ricks, okay? The streamers who are, I'm going to take off my thing right on my arm, your name, and I'm going to send you kisses. I'm going to do a pose if you send a contribution. That kind of stuff is messed up. That is actually, in my opinion, not morally wrong. I do believe that there should be some check and balance against it, because I do actually believe that at some point it can become to the point where people will actually believe that it's real. And actually it could become like a sick thing. A sicko could actually think that someone's in love with them because they're doing those kind of actions. But, oh, by the way, just send us more money. At what point do we draw the line between it's content creation or it's prostitution? I mean, maybe you didn't do the physical act, but goddamn, people are coming pretty darn close to porn at this point, right? So this is the problem with the whole social aspect and parasocial aspect of content creation, is that you have people who don't understand that it's fantasy, that there's a line to be drawn, and then they start going crazy over the level, and then that, you know what I'm saying? That's just crazy. So the thing is I don't know this content creator. I can't really comment and say, oh, they were doing this kind of content and therefore they're responsible or they're not responsible, right? I don't follow South Korean creators to be giving that kind of commentary on this topic, all right? But if someone's sending you $70,000, you probably should question what in the holy hell is going on and if this makes any sense, okay? The AI summarized it and claimed that they had a business relationship. I don't know what kind of a business relationship that they had. You know what I'm saying? That's, if it was like, oh, it's a business we set up together, and I decided that, no, we're not going to do it anymore, and she just decided to cut and run after accepting $70,000 of the guy's money, and now she's backing out of the business transaction. I mean, that's really underhanded, but I mean, was there a business contract in place? Could this guy have sued her? Did he feel like he wasted his whole life savings and money and this guy was now destitute and he went nuts because of it and that's why he went after? There's all these factors that we don't know the answers to, right? So you can't really sit here as an armchair critic and be like, well, this is her fault, or, well, this, it's kind of a fucked up situation no matter what. Murder is murder and it should never happen, okay? So the guy is 100% in the wrong here, but you actually don't know what happened. And when you're sitting back and you're going to make a comment like, oh, well, it's totally her fault for accepting that money, I do think that that's a pretty fucked up thing to do. I don't think that any of us should be sitting here high and mighty and act like we really understand this situation, okay? However, the point that people are making that you shouldn't just accept insane amounts of unlimited money from strangers, yeah, it kind of resonates, it does. Right now, every day, I accept money from people. I don't know who they are. I don't. There's no way to know who they are, nor should I need to know who everyone is who contributes to my content. I'm one person. You are thousands, right? So I shouldn't know each person who contributes and have a personal relationship, and I know I can trust this person. Also, at the same time that I say that, it's 2025, and we're getting more and more stories like this. It is becoming crazy to the point where, is it even safe for a content creator or a streamer to actually now be meeting up with people ever in real life? Is it safe to do that? Or has it become to the point where it's actually just unsafe because you never know who's a crazy stalker, right? Who's actually going to hurt you or has bad intentions, right? It's crazy to think. So you have to think about that. Right? Right now, everyone's, well, Phil, will you ever go to another convention? Well, here's the thing. 10, 15 years ago, it seemed like people were more normal. Today, people are nuts. Today, people do crazy shit constantly. So who's to say that there's not some nut job out there who's convinced that I'm the devil because I stream games every day and actually wants to hurt me or my family? Is the risk worth it? Probably not. I mean, guys, I'm not even kidding you. There are people who try to stalk me on my days off. They try to find out what I do on a day off, and they try to post it up all over the internet like it matters. So can you imagine if I was going to a convention or if I was making a public appearance? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like maybe we're to the point where if you're an interactive streamer, it's just not even safe to get to that level to have a personal interaction with a fan, because how do you know a fan is even in their right mind? Do you really know them that well, right? So it's pretty insane, right? I mean, what a story. And the thing is, I sadly hate to say this, we have to understand something, which I think a lot of people don't understand. We are in the infancy stages. Yeah, I'm looking at a bug. There's a bug up there. That's what I keep looking at. There's a bug in my room, and I'm going to get it when I'm done with the story. It keeps climbing on my curtains right now. We are in the infancy stages of content creation on the internet, and certainly we're in the very early infancy stages of interactive streaming. Interactive streaming for profits has only been about 10 years, not even, when you really think about it. People doing it for a living, fully, probably not even 10 years yet. Okay, so it's very early. Maybe in the long term, there will be things developed. That'll be protections, that'll be laws, that'll be ways to protect a streamer or a creator. Right now, we have absolutely, positively nothing. Zip. So anyone can mess with anyone. And you report them and no one cares. Oh, someone's harassing me on YouTube. YouTube's like, oh, well. Twitch is like, who gives a shit? They don't do anything because legally they're like, well, we're not responsible. We have no responsibility for anything that happens on our site. So literally someone can send you death threats. Someone can send you horrendous things, pictures, talk about your family, dox you. Oh, well, we're not responsible for it. Get a lawyer. That's what you're told. You got a problem with it? Get a lawyer. No. You're the site that literally exists because I give you my free content and you monetize it and you make money on it. There's got to be some kind of a legal agreement that you're going to protect me from people who want to kill me because they're crazy. Now, oh, well, hands off. Law protects us. So, you know, if you get slashed, you get slashed. Who gives a shit? It's pretty fucked up. That's literally their attitude. Not exaggerating. That is their attitude. They just don't care about it. They're like, well, not our problem. So, how happy they are to accept your money that you make for them by making content. But then the fact that you have to actually, can I get some help? No. Why would we ever help you? Or who are you? I'm the person who prints money for you every day. I don't care. They don't give a shit. So, I'm sure we may be talking more about stories like this soon. We may. And it's scary to think, but it may become more commonplace. If anything, I might say I'm at least safer because I'm a guy, right? Guys tendency, you have more male viewers and you don't have that much level of obsession, right? Girls who are streaming, especially those, I hate to say it, who take advantage to try to make more money, and they do those parasocial relationships, I'll blow you a kiss, I'm gonna write your name on me and everything. Then people start to get crazy in the head. Guys are wired in this crazy way where some of these losers actually think this shit is real. They don't get that they're paying money for a quick interaction and that's where it ends. They actually think, one day I'll have a relationship with this girl. They're nuts. These people are fucking nuts. At the same time, you got to be careful about how far you go because maybe you are taking advantage of someone who is nuts, right? I'm outright tell you guys every day the level of our relationship, right? We're just hanging out. We're just having a good time together. We're enjoying games. We're having good conversation. You know what I'm saying? That's where we end it. This is not, you're going to come hang out with me in real life and spend days with me and we're going to have a good time together and we're going to date and we're going to do crazy shit. No, never. Never, ever. But how many people get the wrong impression? You got to think someone who's going to send you thousands and thousands of dollars, are they doing it for the right reasons? You know, I've had people over the years, again, I'm 17 years I've been doing this. I've had people who have written me heartfelt messages saying, just so you know, when I was younger, I used to watch your stuff and it really propped me up at a time in my life when I was really messed up in the head. And here I am all these years later and I still watch your stuff. And I have a job and I support myself well. And I want to thank you for what you did for me, making that awesome content earlier in my life. And then they'll send me a big contribution. And then it's like, wow, that's meaningful. And I think that person, because they went the way to explain the situation, wow, that makes sense. I can accept. But at the same time, there's so many anonymous contributions. You can't do anything about that. There was Tutankhamun, the weirdo on Twitch, who was sending me insane amounts of gifted subs, tips, and bits, and then all of a sudden started derailing my streams, demanding I play certain games and just acting like an asshole, right? The flip side of that, there was a person who was Emerald 7 who for 2 or 3 months on Twitch was just sending me endless amounts of tier 3 subs. I have no idea who the person was. I never spoke with them. I never ever figured out who they were. And no exaggeration, within 3 months, they sent me like $10,000 of support. So you never know. You don't know who these people are. How as a creator, are we supposed to keep track and micromanage every person who contributes? We're not. So maybe we need protections in place. Maybe we need something to say, hey, this shit shouldn't be happening. People shouldn't get our information. People shouldn't be able to fuck with us, right? I don't know. But again, we don't actually know the situation between this girl and this 50-year-old guy. They're saying there was a business transaction. What was that business transaction? What does it entail? I don't know. It's kind of weird, right? Anyway, that's what we have to say about that for now. There may be follow-ups to that story later. Okay. I got him. He's alive. He's crawling around in there right now. See him? That's a stink bug. See if I can show him. I didn't hurt him at all. I just grabbed him with a tissue and I put him inside this Tupperware. I'll leave him in here for a few minutes till I finish the show, and then I'll release him outside. So, yeah, they're all over the place this time of year. They try to get in your house. I don't know why they try to get in your house. It's weird. But they do, and I looked into it, and they said they are not harmful at all. They only eat plants. They don't attack. They can't bite. They're just an herbivore, but yet they try to get in your house. I don't know why. They're very unique looking. They have a unique looking like shell, so they don't look like other beetles. And they are great climbers. They go everywhere, and they keep trying to sneak in your house. So I will let them outside when we're done with the show. Okay. Anyway, so now it's time for shout outs. Sorry that took so long. Okay. Okay, let's do shout outs. So we start off with, let's see here. I think there was a $2 tip. Let's see here. So we had a 14 super chat from Troy Smith. Okay. So let's see what Troy says. He says, I'm a new viewer. I've come to enjoy some streams and I look forward to them. I'm learning about the community and what games do well. What have been the games that do best in support over the years? The thing is, it changes. There's definitely trends and there's things that go up and down. I would say some of the more popular things over the years traditionally are more difficult games, always a FromSoft game. If there's ever a new FromSoft game, that's usually a big hit. We're talking any Elder Scrolls, any Dark Souls, or any other game from them, such as Sekiro, Bloodborne, most recently Elden Ring and its DLC. Those always do well. Why? Tons of content, epic boss fights, big challenge, overcoming and getting better at it over time. You know what I'm saying? Those always do well. Oh, he's moving in there. He's moving around in there. Don't worry, I'm going to let you out in a few minutes. Yeah, so definitely that kind of game. Usually a new fighting game, but it might not last. For example, there may be a fighting game that does well for a week or two and then it fails, but there's other fighting games that will last a long time, like Street Fighter 6 lasted quite a long time. Why? Online, multiplayer and stuff like that, the competition. Same thing with like a new Call of Duty or something like that, usually works for a bit. Now here's the thing. Previously, you might have said, well, any of the big AAA games, and that used to be the case. Whenever there was a new Assassin's Creed or a new Mass Effect or a new this or a new that, now the AAA companies have faltered. The AAA companies are failing. Okay, they just are. And so their games coming out are so underwhelming and very scary to the point where you don't know, even if you're spending $70 on a AAA game, if it's any good. So, like, people used to line up in the fall to see me play every AAA game. Now it's like people are like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch that one. I don't know if I'm interested in that one. We all have this like skeptical wait and see mentality. I don't know. In truth, I really feel like the last year, this has all changed, Troy. Like, I think like now it's just trying different games and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't, seeing what sticks and seeing what, won't work. And there's not much you can really do. That's why I'm happy that I'm a PC gamer now and there's so many games available on PC that we could try different things and formulas. There's some games this year that I thought would have been hits, they flopped. There's some games this year I thought would have flopped and did really well. Notably this year, chill games, right? Games like American Truck Simulator. I wouldn't have told you in a million years, I wouldn't have thought that wouldn't have done well. And here we are playing it 5 months later, and it's still one of the best streams with a regular crowd that support it, right? So really, honestly, today, it is completely trial and error. There's really no way to tell because the gaming is fluctuating right now. We're in this weird space in between when things are popular and when they're not. What's good, what's bad. Sometimes indie studios are pumping out much better games than giant AAA studios with budgets 100 times bigger than theirs. So you never know. Yeah, you can't really be consistent. Like I would have told you ages ago, 10, 15 years ago, it would have been narrative-based games. When I played games from Telltale Games like The Walking Dead or Tales from the Borderlands, those were insane. People loved them. Now they don't even exist anymore. Those games they can't be played, right? They don't make them. Someone tipped $2, says, I always wondered what's going through the mind of a murderer. Does the thought of going to jail for life or getting the death penalty for doing what they're doing ever go through their mind? To be honest, I mean, I don't know because obviously I've never had that mentality, but I guess it depends. Like if it's a crime of passion, like someone is obsessed with someone and they lose their mind because they're never going to be with them. And like this case, this 50-year-old guy has this relationship with this 25-year-old girl. She basically tells him, you're never going to be with me. And he snaps and kills her. Did he really put any thought into it at all? Maybe not. Maybe it was just emotion at the moment. Then again, you got serial killers who literally plot out the way that they're going to murder people in a row and get away with it. So I would think those are completely different mentalities, right? Pretty crazy. Let's see here. Vasil did a $15.13 super chat. Thank you to Vasil. So now you're back as the top super chatter. Up to $64 of support so far today. Thank you, guys. He says, it's sad there's an epidemic of loneliness these days. I was glad that I grew up in the 90s before the net. It was all about biking around, playing sports, hanging out with your neighbors. Yeah, for me, when I was a kid, it was always going outside, playing with my neighbors, having a good time with toys and stuff. Yes, absolutely. As I got older, I got into video games and things like that. But even then, it was about interaction, hanging out with real people. And then even when I got into competitive Street Fighter, it was about traveling, playing in person. Really, it was this generation. It all started in like the 2010s when everything became online interactions, online video game play, online socialization, online parasocial relationships, right? That now we have a whole generation, that's what they grew up with. That's their norm. But we grew up with a generation that being what they're doing, but with zero protections. It's like someone said on that X post, cops don't give a shit. You go talk to the police about this kind of stuff right now, they're like, we can't do anything about it. We're already so busy dealing with real life crime. We can't deal with that shit online. What are you, crazy? Sorry. Go talk to the FBI. If you have enough evidence that someone is actually trying to murder someone, outside of that, we can't do anything. That's what I was told outright by my local police department. As much as my idiotic, dumb fuck detractors tried to discredit what I say, no, it's exactly what happened. I had a conversation and I was told police in real life don't have the resources to deal with the internet stuff. We just can't. Sorry. Technology has advanced too far, too fast, that now we have a generation of people who live on the internet endlessly, yet we have nothing to protect them from bad things on the internet. People who are crazy, people who are trying to scam you, people who are trying to get your information and use it for their own purposes. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing to stop it. And then the places where it happens, all the social media sites, oh, hands off. There's a law that protects us from having any responsibility. It says right there in black and white, we cannot be held responsible for anything that happens. See? So that's pretty nuts, don't you think? They're not responsible for anything that happens on there as a result of people being on their site and posting and harassing and stalking and doing fucked up stuff. I just don't get it. But that's how it is right now. It's the Wild West. We are still in the Wild West of online content creation, for sure. It's pretty crazy right now. Do we have any final thoughts? Anyone want to say anything? Please tag me in chat. Any final contributions that you'd like me to shout out before we end the show for the week? Like I said, I'll be back on Sunday with another podcast. We're not doing another one tomorrow because I'm going to be focusing on Battlefield 6. And, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show today. I know we covered quite a lot of different topics. No, I'm not returning to Tekken 8. Am I concerned about my relationship with any of my donators? No. I do not have any close personal relationships with any of my donators. I don't, okay? So, and they know that too. Like, I try to make it known, listen, I appreciate it. I'm cool with all my viewers and donators. I really appreciate that. But I can't have these private relationships. I can't have personal attachments to my viewers and people who contribute. It's not healthy. My best friend is my wife. I'm happily married. That's the personal relationship that I care about most in life. You know what I'm saying? I do still have friends from back in the day who I talk to from time to time, and we get caught up on stuff, and that's cool. But viewers being close personal friends is probably a very dangerous game to play, to be honest. It probably is, right? Oh, Wrigley says, was there a particular event that caused you to realize it wasn't healthy to overshare, or is it an accumulation of trolling over the years? Oh, listen. And again, I'm someone who's been through all of it, and I've seen attitudes change, and I've seen things, change on the internet. When I started as a content creator, I would share everything. I would literally film and vlog constantly throughout my entire house. I would tell you about where I was going, what I was doing. I didn't care. I figured it doesn't matter. It's all a joke. None of this shit is serious. But over the years, you start to see weird shit happen. People just start sending you stuff in the mail. Like, what is this? I never asked for this. Why am I getting all this random shit? People start putting two and two together about things that are going on in your house, and they start doing creepy shit. I've told you some crazy stories before. People trying to turn off my utilities because I left a statement envelope on my countertop, and they called my utility company, and they actually like impersonated me. People who socially engineered to get into certain accounts and tried to pay payments and take my money away that, obviously they shouldn't have control over that. An actual freaking employee of Comcast going into my account, changing things in my modem and router, turning off my internet during live streams. It's pretty insane, don't you think? Pretty nuts. And that's what I mean. You may think, hey, not a big deal to just say that your internet is Comcast. Literally, that happened because people knew I had Comcast internet. And you'd think, well, that's not an overshare. I guess it was. I don't even know what else to say about it. You know what I'm saying? You get to a point like this is insanity, like the things that people are doing. So, I don't share anything anymore, right? I really don't. You guys only know a few little things about my life that I wish to share with you. And that's that. I'm not, I can't overshare because if I do, you never know what a crazy person on the internet will do with that information. And 10, 15 years ago, that was never a concern. People didn't do that kind of shit. Now they do. Now they think it's like normalized. It's normalized behavior to troll someone, which I don't understand at all, but it is. It's become normalized behavior that people can just troll. It's fine. It's expected. But it shouldn't be. I should be able to say I use Comcast internet and not be worried someone's going to get a job at Comcast to mess with my internet. And if you think that's okay, you're the crazy one and you're the problem with society. Maybe you grew up in the eternally online generation where all you think that matters is what's online. You're part of a major problem that's breaking down human society if you believe that kind of behavior is fine. It's not. It's not at all. I'm just banning a whole bunch of people who are trying to do dumb shit in the chat. But for the record, no, I don't regularly talk with any top contributors. I don't have super private conversations and DMs with them. That doesn't happen. Every once in a while, if there's a behind-the-scenes conversation, there's good reason for it. Maybe someone particularly does want to contribute a big amount and they want to let me know ahead of time so I know what's going on. So number one, I know it's not a troll donation. And number two, I know it's not a mad person. But there's no one who right now I'm regularly just talk with them every day because they contribute. Absolutely not. You know? The extent of our relationship should be right here. We talk on stream, we hang out, we have a good time. That's it. It shouldn't be, oh, because you contributed, you bought my friendship, and now we're having this relationship behind the scenes. That, you know what I'm saying? That's when you're getting into that territory, that dangerous territory. Oh, I purchased access to this person now exclusively. The guy spent $70,000 and he thought that now he was going to have this relationship with this girl forever or whatever it was. That's dangerous and crazy. FF9000, I don't know what you're talking about, but I wish you the best. I hope you get well soon. He's spamming my kick chat with something. I don't know what he's talking about, but there you go. All right, everyone. It is time to end the show. All right. Thank you so much for watching the Level 1 podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Remember, there will be no show on Friday. I shall return on Sunday. We'll get caught up with news, status on all the playthroughs. I'll have my initial impressions on Battlefield 6 and more. So thank you, and I hope that you will tune in on Sunday. Everyone, enjoy your weekends. See you soon. Peace out.